Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Pam. I'm a professional organizer, and on this channel I like to talk about everything organized. And today's video is just a little bit different than my other ones where I just rattle off a bunch of tips about organizing. We are actually going to highlight my daughter's bedroom transformation. So we're going to take you through how she came about transforming her bedroom into the As an organizer, oh my gosh, my jaw dropped when I saw the results. And a lot of what she came across is things we kind of preach to our clients all the time. So we want to share that with you. So I'll stop blabbing and let's just get into this, okay?
So in 2017, we did like a makeshift Makeover fix to it because my original desk it's short but
Deep.
And it had wonderful drawers that I used for like office supplies, makeup, hair, deodorants, and all that fun stuff. But I had no top of the desk workspace to, store things. And it was just like fighting my artwork, fighting my schoolwork, fighting my schoolwork, my editing. The solution that we came up with was to build a little riser with wood, and we got little containers from the container store that we turned into drawers, and it worked for a good
Couple of years.
Yeah, 3 years maybe.
Well, I think at that time, the things you were doing were slowly changing. You were going from that high school student to a college student.
Yeah, to build my business. I mean,
it just wasn't set up to support you.
Right. Every single system that I set up in 2017 was finally coming to a head and just fighting everything else that was new in my life.
What was the first thing you started to do when you planned on transforming your room into this beautiful?
Thank you.
It is so gorgeous.
I first started with making a plan.
So did you just sit down and make a plan, or did it take some time?
It took. There were days where I was just staring at a wall, and I swear, if you guys saw me, you would have thought something was a little off. It wasn't quarantine. It was just me thinking. There was so much that I wanted to do with my room, but I didn't know how to go about doing it until I had some kind of visual for it. Because I have to make my bedroom, obviously, my workspace as well as my art room for commission stuff. It's like the way I had it set up made it so much smaller and more confined than I could have made it, which at night, I'd be sitting in my bed and I'd just, be looking at the corner of my room thinking of I need a space for my camera, but I also need a space for my editing. But I also, have all of this other stuff.
Did you start making a list of what you needed the room to do for you?
Yeah.
Like sometimes when you're putting that plan together, you gotta write what you need, because when you're spending a lot of time in your room, you start realizing certain systems that may have worked before don't work so well now.
Putting measurements out of my head, I was just thinking of a shape and a setup that would probably benefit me. I went into Photoshop and I was just making, a layout that would potentially work. And my new desk was initially going to be right here. And I was going to have my art desk underneath the window to make a U-shaped desk like I initially was kind of hoping for.
U-shaped desks are highly productive desks. Everything's at your fingertips. That's where you were going. You wanted high productivity. But it's interesting, a lot of people don't realize this, is that it doesn't happen overnight. This actually started to come about in 2020.
Like January 2020.
Yeah, it actually got accelerated a little bit with quarantine. It's like, even with my clients, I have them send me pictures, or I go there during the consultation and I take photos of their room to form even a preliminary plan. And then we kind of talk more about it as we start decluttering. Give yourself that time and just sit and look at your room and say, what do I want out of it? What do I need out of it? A lot of people don't know where to start with a plan. They're like, well, fine, you say make a plan, how do I do that? So
what I did was, my desk initially was where my bed is now, but I wanted to turn that over into my art desk, and I wanted a separate desk strictly for writing, editing, and makeup.
She needed like a little mini vanity section in her room.
Because initially, like I said, my old desk, which is now my art desk, stored my makeup as well as office supplies and all that stuff. So
Too much in there.
Yeah, too many functions for
a little desk.
Yeah.
That's the key with organization. You want something fast and easy that you can do. And that's how productivity increases, especially like with
because I am so freaking lazy. I don't want to have to walk across the room to get a pencil when it's, you know.
Well, let's mention that.
So when my bed was on the other side of the room, I had, back in 2017, I had put up bookshelves on this side, which was to the left of my old desk. Sometimes I read in my bed before I went to sleep. So
oftentimes you always do.
Yeah.
You rarely read in the day.
Because it makes me tired.
Yeah.
I fall asleep. That might be a medical issue, but I don't know. My nightstand would just pile up with crap over the weeks, and it was like I wouldn't ever just walk 10 feet to put the book away, which is so stupid in the grand scheme of things, but my way of living was so simplified that it was like I didn't want to have to do that.
When you're setting up systems in your home, you want to put things where you use them. And I'm always amazed when we walk into bedrooms and I'll see a dresser over there, but the closet's over there and the hamper's over there. And I'm like, why are you zigzagging through your own room? You need to separate those functions. You need to have your work zone and your relaxation zone. Organization comes from, you want to have the smaller the room, the fewer the functions. Because the more functions you put into a room, the more chance you're going to have a disorganized mess. You'll hear every organizer on the planet say, group like items together. Well, that goes for your room setups too. If you're feeling stressed in a room, that means the systems are not driving the way they should. And that's how you kind of analyze and find out what works. And the best way to do that is to separate those functions. Don't overlap them. The minute you start overlapping them, that's when confusion happens. That's when you leave a book on a nightstand instead of putting it away. That's oftentimes what we find with our clients. One of the first things they say is they go, I don't know where to start. Well, that's because they're too into that space. They see it all the time, so it's hard to see the solution, where a fresh set of eyes that have never been in there before, we could go in there and go, oh, well, this is because you need this, this, and this moved here, here, and here. But when it's your own, and it's more personal,
it takes a lot more thinking. One of the things that I found wasn't working with my original setup was the easel that my grandpa gave me. I love the easel, and I didn't want to get rid of it because it worked. It was so useful.
You used it all the time. She also, in addition to cinematography and all that, she does portraits and nature. She does beautiful paintings. And her grandfather gave her what's, I don't want to call it an antique, but it was an old easel, but it was awesome.
It was an easel that he used.
Yeah.
So I had a sentimental value to it that was both useful, but also it needed some tweaking. Because the legs that it had,
they went outward.
For the space that I had, it wasn't working. So one of the first steps that I ever wanted to do was to remove the legs off of that easel and switch them out with just straight legs. Make it into a mini table kind of thing.
She set up, when you see this, oh my gosh, she set up definite zones. And then she assigned a function in each of those zones, which is how organization starts. Yes.
I took measurements of like every wall and
every inch of this place.
Every inch of this place, like from the corner to the window, the entire window, and then the remaining space over there.
There's only one wall that doesn't have any interruptions, what I call them. I call a window an interruption, and I call closets interruptions, and doors.
I took even as much as like where the outlets came into play.
Very important.
Yeah. The most useful outlets were on the walls that had the problems. So I was like, so what do I do?
It couldn't work.
I know. So there was a lot of like thinking of like, well, if I put this function here, I have to make sure that the outlet wouldn't be blocked by, you know, blah, blah, blah. After I did that, I took the measurements that I took in the beginning stages, and I made this massive graph paper map of my room down to the inch of like, this is the space I have to work with, have at it.
And then she cut separate pieces out to represent each piece of furniture.
It allowed me to, you know, take things like my bed, my current desk, nightstand, and all that stuff, and pick up and move around my room to see what things would work.
There's something about physical paper that brings it to reality a little bit more. You know, I'm not not against the digital programs out there, but when it involves organization and you're trying to set up a room, sometimes what looks good on a computer doesn't translate into the real world, and that's where just good old-fashioned graph paper and some other paper works wonders.
Yeah. So after I had the graph paper layout, I was like, well, this is gonna be brilliant. Nothing can go wrong. There were about 6 to 10 things that actually went wrong.
What you did next, I thought was so brilliant. You remember what you did with the painter's tape on?
Yes, I I taped the floor
Using painter's tape.
Using painter's tape to get my mind and eyes used to the physical form that my desk was going to be in the space that I had to work in. And I even put it up on the wall as well to get my mind used to the height that I wanted my desk to be.
That was brilliant.
Well, thank you. I was looking up online like pre-made, pre-built desks, but my brother got me a wonderful desk chair because for a good 5 years I was just using a stool. But the base of the chair, my biggest worry with the old desks that I was finding online was that the size of the chair was going to keep bonking into the corner of the desk.
You had that with the old desk.
Yes.
So that's something you need to consider when you're setting up a system.
Going off of that, I quickly found out that the setup that I had was not going to work because my desk chair, the big
base
thing, the base was like knocking into my imaginary new desk that, you know, was gonna have legs in certain places, and I was like, that's not gonna work.
Had the tape not been there, she could have created a design that would have been a disaster.
The desks that I was finding online were just fighting me every step of the way. So that's when I knew that I was gonna have to build it myself, which I was okay with. I wasn't like too intimidated by.
Easy for you to say. Nothing like choking on your own.
It's just dry.
We're in the desert, hon.
I knew I was gonna have to build it myself, which again, I'm okay with. We built the riser back in 2017, so I was a little more comfortable with like
Dealing
that kind of
with wood.
stuff. Yeah. I went back to the drawing board in terms of the graph paper and the pieces that I had, and I literally took all the pieces off because I was like, blank canvas, start from scratch.
Don't be afraid to start over. If you find something isn't going to work, scratch it and go back to the basics. You want to take the most time in your planning. Organization is 90% planning, 10% execution. So the planning stage is the more important stage, to be honest with you. You taking that time, and how long did you take with just the plans? It was
maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a long thing, and that's just half of it because I had to go back and redo the process again because
other things came up.
Yeah.
So we gathered up the measurements.
Yes.
We gathered up photos of what we had. We gathered up her plans.
Yep.
And we headed off, I call it idea shopping.
Yeah. It's like window shopping, just with a plan in place.
With a plan, yeah.
We were on a very tight budget, so I knew what I needed to do.
You kind of had a preliminary idea.
Yeah. When the assembly started, I just built it on the floor, basically, as one would.
Wood.
Pun intended.
We cleared out as much as we could in this room because you gotta live with this for the rest of your life.
No, I made it portable.
Yes, she thought of everything.
I tried to anyway.
But yeah, you just then came to building.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're gonna show you her new desk, and then maybe you can show us the whole room.
Yes.
A tour of, and we'll see what it was like before, because I think we have some photos.
Yep, right? I made sure to take before and
Good.
after photos for my own
Oh,
sanity.
it's so good. I love my daughter.
I hope so.
We'll show you before and then the full bedroom after, because like I said, one of the things that just really has blown my mind about this room is every detail she thought out. And again, one of the things people always ask us, do you have any ideas? Do you have any ideas? That's what these videos are for, to show you an idea, and it may not work for you, but it might kind of give you a similar idea that would work for you. So that's why we're going to show you all these little organizing, because I am extremely impressed with how thought out everything is, and literally everything's at your fingertips.
It is.
Okay,
Okay, so here is the final desk that I made. The right side of my desk I wanted solely for writing work and getting ready in the morning. On the far right, there's Sterilite bins, and that's actually where I put jewelry and makeup stuff that I had in my old art desk. I purposefully put a towel underneath my desk on the right side because it helps protect the top of my desk from getting makeup on it. I have a surge protector and a little phone holder that I got from Target that I can put my phone in and play videos or music while I do my makeup in the morning. It's easy to plug things in to charge my phone or charge my camera batteries or what have you. It's just there and easy to use. With command hooks, I lined the whiteboard that I attached to the back of the desk with all of my flash drives, so it's easy to access because I didn't like the way I had it before where I had to dig through a drawer just to find one flash drive. And the box to the right is for the bulkier flash drives because they just didn't hang nicely. And then to the left there is the riser that I mentioned earlier with the two containers that I turned into drawers for my office supplies. I have my scissors, my staple remover, Post-its, and tape. Above it I have my stapler and my binder clips and paper clips. I have a little glass jar for my pens and then a little ceramic jar for my highlighters and my pencils. And moving over to the left, I have more of my computer supplies in this other drawer, which is mostly just my headphones and my phone charger. Above, I have two places where I take notes. One I made into like a whiteboard with a dollar store picture frame that I can write on with whiteboard markers. And to the left, I have a little corkboard that I also made with dollar store frames that I can just easily pin notes that I take throughout the day on. And here is my computer that I do my editing on. I put a little drop-down drawer that the keyboard and mouse can go on because I didn't want my desktop to be cluttered more than it needed to be. And when I made this desk, I didn't want any cords to be just lying on the ground and collecting dust, so my feet weren't getting tangled in them and my dog wouldn't try to eat them. I made sure that I consolidated as much as I could. I even went to the trouble of velcroing the surge protector onto the plank of wood that I have underneath the tower. And actually, this tower is sitting on a kind of makeshift, I don't know what you want to call it. It's basically just a plank of wood that we got from Home Depot and a spare piece of metal that we ended up not using for another desk that we had. And I attached the two, and then I used two L brackets to the leg of my desk. And it's basically just sitting on that. And just for, style, I did this for fun. I got twinkle lights from Amazon that I can change the color throughout the seasons so I can add a little personality to my desk. It was fairly easy to attach. I just used command hooks everywhere. And here's how it looks. So that's that on my desk, but on the opposite side of my room where my bed used to be, I have my art station, which consists of a 3 cubby hole, my desk that used to be my old desk, the easel, and the dresser. In this 3 cubby hole, I have tissues, gloves that I wear when I'm dealing with messy materials in general, outside of paint. I have double-sided tape, and the one below, I have some miscellaneous art books, and then below I have a gallon of water that I use just so I don't have to walk all the way to the kitchen to get some tap water. I just use that gallon. Now, my desk, it has these 4 drawers. As I mentioned before, all of these drawers used to hold all of my daily supplies, but now I have my colored pencils in my top drawer, and the one below I have my charcoal, my graphite pencils, my ink markers, and I even have chalk pastels that I sometimes use. The one underneath is all of my acrylic paints. And in the bottom drawer, I have a lot of miscellaneous art supplies that I use. Above my desk, I actually decided to attach a paper towel holder on there because, kind of like with the water situation, I didn't want to always have to travel out to the kitchen to get it. And here is the easel that my grandpa gave me. I completely refurbished it. I basically customized it to make it most efficient for my workflow. And that also required me to detach the top of it. I even used like 4-inch long screws and screwed them into the back and attached little felt backing so it wouldn't scratch the wall. And in this easel drawer, I sanded it, painted it, put contact paper in it. I also have tons of jars and mixing cups that I use for when I'm working with paints. I also have a little container for foil that I can easily use so I don't have to go to the kitchen to get the foil. It's just at my fingertips for easy access. Underneath my easel, I stored the big bigger canvases and sketch pads that obviously can't fit into the dresser, where I have more supplies like my canvases, works in progress, and sketchbooks. At the foot of my bed, I have my bench where I store my laptop mouse and laptop charger. And the bottom cubbies actually store about a dozen different binders that range anywhere from just miscellaneous cinematography notes as well as production binders for film projects.
Okay, so there you have it. That is Emily's room transformation from disorganization that wasn't supporting what she needed to do to complete organization. And I want to revisit the things to keep in mind that we talked about. First of all, when you're going to reorganize a room and set it up to support you more, you want to start with a plan. Organization is 90% planning, 10% execution. Get that plan in place, test it out. If you're going to be moving furniture around, put the painter's tape and then leave it there for a week and try maneuvering around the painter's tape and make sure that where you're moving the furniture really works. Measure a lot and then just buy once. If you are planning to rearrange furniture, keep 3 feet of walkway. I think a door is normally 3 feet wide. Disorganization comes when you don't honor who you are. So set it up to honor your personality and your habits and how you work. Like Emily says, I don't want to be going underneath the desk to plug something in, or I don't want to be traveling out to get something. But if it's something very personal to you, get another family member or a friend. If you get stuck, ask for their help, ask for their ideas. And that's kind of like what we do with one another. It's like when we get stuck, say, hey, I need your eyes and your opinions on this project I'm working on. So don't be afraid to reach out to someone, even an organizer. And the last point I want to stress is to remember that life, it's constantly evolving. What was working for you 2 years ago may not work for you today. Your house or your rooms need to change when your life changes.
I built this desk and redid my room back in July, and it's now, November, and it's still holding up. Yeah, when I get busy, some things collect on the tops of my desk, but they all have their place and it's easy to put away.
Oh,
It's just more or less like, do I want to, again, walk across the room to put something away? And I'm like, no, I don't. So
well, I thought it was so funny the other day. You're like, I gotta pick up my room, and she did it like in
3
under.
minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say under 5 minutes. And it just she came out, and I said, "Are you done already?" And she's like, "Yeah," because the systems were set up that she could easily pop them in there where they needed to go. So even when life gets a little chaotic, if you have systems in place that are supporting what's actually going on, it's easy and fast to clean up like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little different from what we normally do, but we hope what we talked about you found very helpful and maybe can apply it to something you want to create in your home. If you have any ideas about what's worked for you when you've rearranged a room or reorganized a room, please let us know. Leave it in the comments below. We love to share these organizing ideas. And if you did enjoy this video, please let us know. Give us a big old thumbs up. Poke that like button below. It really helps out my channel. And if this is your first time visiting my channel, first of all, thanks for clicking on this video. I really appreciate you stopping by. And if you like organizing videos, why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button. It's free. Free organizing tips. And ring the bell so you know every time I'm uploading new videos. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye. I spent 16 years of my life in a home that did not have a pantry. I want to do this video on how to organize your kitchen when you don't have a pantry. Today, I'm going to show you how I created a new coffee station for $0 just by shopping in my own home. So first, let me take you back in time.